So pumpkins are such a welcoming sight in the fall, and today we're going to make a pumpkin pie that you'll be surprised to know contains no dairy or wheat. Tamara Petro is a holistic health coach and is here to share her raw vegan recipe, as you normally do. Tamara, let's talk a little bit about what it means to eat a raw vegan diet.
First of all, it's primarily plant-based, so we've talked about that: vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, berries, mushrooms.
Something from the earth, right?
So, things that grew, yeah. And also there's no animal products, so no dairy, no cheese, eggs, milk. That's not there at all. And then the extra added addition is that you're not cooking things, and if you heat them, it's usually below 118, 116 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Why is that?
It's to preserve the nutrients, mostly the vitamins. Minerals are pretty heat stable for the most part, but also really important things that are undervalued in our diet, which are those phytochemicals and other really important things that get destroyed by heat. So you're actually getting extra nutrition when you're eating raw.
Now, extra nutrition, but what other benefits would you say?
I could go on and on. And
really?
I know
All right, give us the highlights, Tamara.
It's just overall, having a vegan diet, there's so much research that talks about the protective factors for things like heart disease, diabetes. It's great for weight loss, also for the immune system, to boost the immune system. If people have gastrointestinal issues, going on a vegan diet, especially a raw vegan diet, seems to also help as well. And a lot of inflammatory autoimmune diseases as well. People have found great benefit by going on to this type of lifestyle.
Now, you're a coach and you have clients that have kind of switched over to this, this diet. You've had it for several years, but what does somebody say to you after doing it for maybe a month?
Usually the first thing they notice is energy.
Really?
Their energy is boosted incrementally, usually within the first week. And it also takes some getting used to, because you have to do a little cleaning out of a pantry, your pantry and your refrigerator.
You don't want any temptations there, right?
It can be tempting.
All right, let's make pumpkin pie today, your version.
This is super easy, and I personally love pumpkins. I love pumpkin pie. Being lactose intolerant, I couldn't have pumpkin pie because usually it's made with cream, and also it's not vegan. There's eggs. And so it was a little bit out of reach for me. So the first holiday dinner, so the first holiday dinner I had to attend with family, I said, well, I'm bringing my own pie because I'm not going to sit there and watch you guys all eat your pie.
That's not fun.
No, not fair. So I created this recipe. It's almost got like a cheesecake type texture, and a lot of raw vegan cheesecakes have a cashew base. So I decided to play with that and got this beautiful organic kabocha pumpkin, which you can get throughout the year. Usually now it's a little more accessible. They're actually Asian pumpkins, and they are super pumpkin-y in terms of the flavor, and they have a fluffier texture and a little bit sweet. So you don't really need to add too much in terms of other sweeteners. Like you would with pumpkin pie, you'd add tons of sugar. You don't have to do too much of that. So what I did was take in cashews that I soaked for a couple hours. These are raw cashews. You need to soak them to release some of the enzyme inhibitors that make them a little tough to digest. And also now I've made them moist so they blend easily and not chunky.
We're talking the crust right now, right? Or
nope, I'm sorry, this is the filling.
Okay,
yes, sorry, the filling. And then the kabocha pumpkin you need to skin with a knife and be very careful and cut it into blendable sized chunks. And I have a Vitamix blender, so it tends to pulverize anything I put in. If you have a blender that's not such a high motor, high speed blender, you might have to cut it a little finer. And then also for the inside, we added the pumpkin pie spices, traditional cinnamon, nutmeg, and I know the recipe will be up on the website for people that want specifics. A little bit of sea salt, I add a little bit of coconut oil, a tiny bit of agave nectar, but again, you don't need to really make it too sweet.
Too much? Okay.
Yep, and fresh grated ginger is ideal. If you can't, powder is fine. And a tiny bit of lemon juice. It tends to give it a little bit of that tangy, cheesecakey type flavor. And the other thing is, regarding this pie, we're not wasting anything. So I used half of the pumpkin to make this pie right here, and there's some left over here. You can actually do anything with this afterwards. You can take the filling and make soup. You can cook it if you choose to cook it. Also the seeds. These seeds are a power punch. I mean, the pumpkin itself is full of vitamin A, vitamin C, magnesium, potassium, all kinds of really good stuff. Loaded. And then the seeds, you can dehydrate them, you can toast them. Powerful zinc and vitamin A and E and all kinds of stuff. So that's the filling. Then we have the crust. And actually, I'm going to have you, if it's okay with you, make a mini one here. The crust, I had used almonds and walnuts. You can use Brazil nuts, almonds, walnuts, any combination. Added a few pitted dates, and again, some of the spices, and I also put an extra added kick of cacao. I've been on the show before
yes,
with
you have
cacao.
talked about that.
Raw chocolate bean, blended up. It's incredible. It gives it a great flavor, like a little something different that you don't expect in pumpkin
Can't wait to
pie,
try
and a
this.
boost of energy and nutrients as well. But this is already blended, and so if you'd like, you can
Just
scoop
kind of
some
mush it
that in
around,
there.
right?
Yep.
Make it a.
And then you could form it. And again, we're not using wheat and you know, that type of crust. So this is like a nut-based crust.
Okay.
And then we've already blended the cashews and the pumpkin, and I made some.
This is really easy to spread too.
Super
this
easy
is not
to spread.
tricky at all.
Super easy.
I mean, I'm doing it.
If you're not experienced with dough and rolling and things like that, this is a great easy crust you can use, even with a cooked filling if you really wanted to.
All right.
And again, these nuts are raw, so again, all the nutrients of the nuts are maintained. They're raw nuts, and they've been
You have
pre-soaked.
to look for raw nuts, correct?
Yes, they're labeled raw, and I prefer raw organic if I can get that as well, because then they don't have the pesticides and they're radiated and things like that.
Got
as
it.
well.
Okay. All right.
And then the filling, if you like to just scoop that
Yes,
in there
I
as
am making
well.
pumpkin pie here today.
Excellent.
Just layer it right on top
Yep,
here.
layer it right on top.
Should we do more?
Yes.
Scoop more.
Scoop
Okay.
it all. Actually, you probably could use the whole thing.
Okay.
Great.
Wow. Now this is definitely a dessert. I mean, there's a.
Yes,
right?
it's not, as I mentioned before, it's not light on the calories.
Okay.
You know, it's nutrient dense, calorie dense. Just a little goes a long way.
Got
you
it.
won't want to eat a lot, trust me. Usually I've had years full of holiday dinners where you had a giant dinner and then giant pieces of pie after. Little goes a long way, and you'd be better off to share this.
Yeah.
And then if you want, you could decorate it with anise, cloves, or walnuts.
Yes, let's put one of
whatever
these
you
on
like.
here. Now I have to ask you, there must be some sort of vegan whipped cream to put on top.
There are.
Right?
Yep. There's some store-made ones. They tend to have some, you know, I'm going to say chemicals, but yes,
Okay.
they could have chemicals, preservatives.
So you wouldn't use them, but.
No, if I was to make a whipped cream, actually there's a whipped cream recipe that I have
Oh, with cashews. Oh, how
cashew-based.
interesting.
There's also one with coconuts, like an actual young coconut where you scoop out the meat
Oh, wow.
of the coconut and blend it as well. So there's some ways you can do it.
Lots of options.
Or head to the store if you choose to go that way.
Very good. Well, we're going to try this at the end of the show.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for the
You'll love it.
recipe. We'll have it at WTNH.com. And coming up on stage 8, Tom Cree gives us a preview to Mad About Entertainment when Style returns.